Welcome everyone to the Inner Game of Life, the podcast where we explore the deeper principles behind success, happiness, and navigating the complexities of human interaction. Today we're diving into a fascinating dynamic. What happens when your personal journey and triumphs are met with unexpected reactions from others? My guest, a seasoned observer of human nature, has some profound insights into this. Taimur, thank you for joining us.
Usman, it's my pleasure. This is a classic human dynamic and it offers a valuable lesson in understanding how people operate, particularly when underlying beliefs and a sense of self-worth are challenged. It's rarely about you, it's about them.
That's a powerful opening. So when someone shares a positive experience or a strategic move that's working well for them, and they're met with skepticism or even negativity, what's truly at play beneath the surface?
Often people are unknowingly engaged in a status game. They're constantly and sometimes unconsciously measuring themselves against others. When you speak about your unique path to prosperity or the positive evolution of your chosen environment, you might inadvertently challenge their perception of their own past choices, their current situation, or the narratives they've adopted to define their identity. Perhaps they've made different sacrifices or they hold a certain worldview that justifies their own trajectory. Your positive experience, especially if it seems to contradict their established beliefs, can trigger a sense of discomfort, even envy. They might perceive your game as somehow better or more optimal than their own, which can lead to a defensive posture.
So it's not necessarily a malicious intent, but more of an ego defense mechanism.
Exactly. Our egos are deeply formed by our experiences and the realities we construct. People often become very attached to their identity and this constructed reality. If their identity is tied to certain assumptions about the world or about what success should look like, your perspective based on direct experience can challenge that deeply held narrative. It's uncomfortable for them to shed that identity and see a different reality, even when presented with compelling evidence. It's easier perhaps to dismiss your observations as naivete or exaggeration because it preserves their existing worldview and avoids the painful cognitive dissonance.
And where does envy fit into this? It feels like it's a huge component.
Envy, as I often say, is the enemy of happiness. When people sense that someone else is thriving or has found a path to contentment or prosperity that they haven't considered or achieved, it can manifest as negativity, cynicism, or even sarcasm. Their comments likely stem from their own internal discomfort rather than any objective assessment of your statements or achievements. It's their internal struggle projecting outwards.
That makes so much sense. We often internalize these reactions, feeling hurt or questioning ourselves. How do we protect our own peace in such situations?
This brings us to the crucial distinction between internal and external validation. You might feel bad because their external reaction conflicts with your internal experience and observations, but remember, happiness and peace are fundamentally internal games, a choice you make. When you seek external validation for your reality or happiness, you essentially hand over control of your peace of mind to others. The judgment of others tells you nothing about the facts. It merely tells you something about their estimate of the facts. It's crucial to understand that life is a single-player game and your happiness and peace are built internally, independent of others' opinions.
So focus on your own reality, your own experiences, and what you're building. And speaking of building, you often talk about smart strategies for life, like leveraging different opportunities. How does that fit into this context of human dynamics?
Precisely, when you employ smart strategies, whether it's leveraging different economic environments or using modern tools to create outsized value, you are building freedom. These are simply effective ways to gain leverage and control over your time and resources. When someone reacts negatively to your strategic success, it's not a critique of the strategy itself, but often a reaction to what it implies about their choices or perhaps a lack of their own strategic vision. Your success can highlight their unexamined assumptions about how life must be lived.
So the best response isn't to try and convince them, but to simply let go.
Absolutely, let go of the shoulds and the need for external approval. Your energy is better spent cultivating your own experiences and the reality you are building for yourself and your loved ones. The world will often reflect your own internal state back at you, so cultivate positivity, acceptance, and a deep sense of self-reliance. Those who are truly content won't feel the need to diminish your experiences or achievements. Keep building your wealth, not just financially, but also in terms of your peace of mind, your time, and your relationships. That's the ultimate architecture of a well-lived life.
That's incredibly insightful, truly a masterclass in personal sovereignty. Temo, thank you so much for this profound conversation.
Always a pleasure, Osman. Remember, the game is always within.